Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just take a moment to go through some things with you today. So today you guys are going to be doing some map skills. So you're going to show us what you know. But before you do that, I wanted to give you a little reminder of what is on a map and how to read it. So we're going to look first of all at where to find a title. So if we're looking at these two maps and you had to find the title, you're going to look for a box that would indicate what the name is or what we're looking at on the map. And in this case, for this big colorful one, we're looking at the Revolutionary War siege of Yorktown, Virginia. That means that this map is a map of Yorktown, Virginia, and the siege that took place there during the American Revolution. And if you look at this map, you'll see in the box here that it says Saratoga and the vicinity in 1777, but then it gets more specific and it tells you the Second Battle of Saratoga. So both of these have a title, they tell you where they're taking place, and they give you some detail. They both tell you when these battles took place, or rather when these occurrences happened. So if you look on the one on the left for the Battle of Saratoga, you'll see that it simply shows you some red and it shows you some blue. Well, as we get further into class and we start learning about the American Revolution, you'll find out a couple of things. For example, one, the British are always represented by the red because they wear the red coats and wore a uniform with the red coat. And the Americans were always shown as the blue. If you look over on this map, though, it gives you far more detail. So first of all, over here in what we call the legend, this is where it's going to explain colors, different designs, different pictures that you see on your map. So in this case, it does show you that the red indicates the British. The gold yellowish color is going to indicate the French, and the blue indicates the American. It goes a step further and shows you what the different dots and dashes mean on the map as well. So if you wanted to get really involved, you would know what it is exactly each one of these little things meant. For example, these are the boats in the water. They had fences that they had to get past and such. Now, on this map, you'll notice that there's no legend, there's no indication to tell you exactly what these are unless you're reading the map. So first and foremost, if you're paying attention, you will see the name of the map. Of course, this time it's not at the top. It's going to be located here at the bottom. It is the Columbian Exchange. And then you're going to have to look at where the arrows are going, where they're coming from, and what is written inside to figure out what the different colors mean and what the different arrows mean. So if we look first at the blue, you'll notice the blue is coming from North America and South America, and they're both going to Europe and Africa. Now, if you look on the inside, it'll tell you what they're getting. So they are getting produce, things that they've never received before that only grew in North and South America. And they're going to be taking these things to Africa and Europe where they will start planting them. Now, if you look at the yellow, this is different. Smallpox, syphilis, malaria, yellow fever, and the plague. Well, what do we know about all of these things? Well, if you said diseases, then you would be correct. And if you notice, the arrows go in both directions. This means that both sides introduced some sort of disease to the other side. And that means that anything that is in the yellow arrow indicates a disease. The last one is the red one. The red one is clearly coming from Europe, Africa, and Asia. And again, these are products and produce that they did not have in North and South America that come specifically from these other three continents, and they brought them over and introduced them on this side of the hemisphere of the earth. Now, notice there were no legends, there's no north-south compass, there's no date for this either. So there's some information that you couldn't get. If I asked you to find the date for the Columbian Exchange, you wouldn't be able to find that or locate it on this map. You'd have to look somewhere else. Now, that being said, we're going to get into some charts. There are two separate charts here. They're both the U.S. Census Bureau and Census, and they both have numbers on them. So these aren't going to be maps, but charts and graphs rather. So when we look at these, it tells you certain things. If you look at the top again, it gives you a title. You have a legend, which indicates what it is that you're reading. So, for example, the rural is a light gray and the urban is a dark gray. So that tells you that the rural, this is the country where people are farming. The dark gray is where people are living in the city, factories, close to each other. And then if you look along the side, this gives you the percentage of the total population. So if we're looking at this on the left, it tells you that almost 90% of the population was rural in 1850, because you have your years down here. But as we progress in our history, you'll notice that rural is slowly going down. Now, they're still not outdone by the 1900s. However, they're 60% of our population versus 85% of our population by the time we get to the 1900s. What do you think it would be about now between the city and the rural environment? Now, our rural environment goes down while, of course, you can see the urban goes up. And if you're looking at the line here, our total population at 40%. By the 1900s, 40% of the entire population lived in cities. And at the bottom, you'll also see where we got the information from. So it is from the U.S. Bureau and Census, and it has been adapted for our purposes. Now, this next one is also a census from 2010, and this one gives you slightly different information. So again, we're going to look at our title. It's the population of 65 years and older by size and percent of total population from 1900 to 2010. So on the left, we have millions. That means millions of people. On the right, we have the percentage. Down at the bottom, we have the years, and then we've got the red and the blue. Now, the blue indicates number in millions, and the red indicates the total population. So if we look at this map, or at this chart, you'll see that we had less than 5 million people over the age of 65 in 1900 that were alive. That was about 13% of the entire population. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, not percent. That was about 5%, because we got to come back over here for the red one. Now, as time went on, the number of 65 years and older people went up because our healthcare got better and things improved for us. So by 2010, we're looking at almost 40 million people who are 65 years and older. And the red line, remember, indicates our entire percentage of population. And that means we're about 13% of the entire population of the United States is 65 years or older. So that's how you read a chart like this. So today, you guys are going to go through charts and maps, just like the ones we looked at. And you are going to tell us what you know based off of reading just the maps. Good luck. I'm sure you guys will do well.